The last 4 years, I have served on the Appropriations Committee, and for those that are on appropriations that I have served with, I think they know that I have focused on investing and making sure that we're making the appropriate investments. And I have to say, to the members who voted for this budget out of appropriations, I'm actually very, very disappointed. You know you could have done better. We've had these conversations, whether they're over the last few months here or during budget conversations over the last number of years. The state has made significant cuts over the last 15 years. You've heard about it. Now is the time when there is actual additional revenue for us to go back and reinvest in those things that we've asked people to take cuts on, whether they are public education, whether they are local governments, our police and our firefighters, whether it's our mental health system, whether it's our health and human services. Those are the types of things we've asked to take cuts. And today you bring forward a budget that leaves over $55 million in Washington, D.C. We had to deal with this last year. We should be pulling down every single dollar from Washington, D.C., not letting it stay there. So your budget, and the Health and Human Service budget is the key of that, doesn't pull down all the federal money. And if you look at some of the rates that you suggest that people will be utilizing dollars and resources from the Health and Human Services, according to the budget that the governor put forward, that's an extra $200 million that we potentially might not have. So to me, I'm disappointed because we could have done better. So let's be honest. I know I've heard many of you say to me quietly and privately over the last couple of weeks, well, we're just moving the process forward. It's just the first step in the process. Well, I have to tell you it's a bad first step. But for those of you who are saying it's a first step, you have an opportunity now, between now and the Budget Revenue Estimating Conference, to have some serious conversations about what has happened to the Health and Human Services budget, the cuts to our environmental protection, the cuts to the Great Lakes restoration initiatives. You can learn about all those pieces and demand that they get put back in, because this is not done. We have conversations with our Senate, we have conversations with the governor, and for us, if we are going to be really fiscally responsible, we have to make those investments. Also, you bring forward a budget that doesn't allocate $283 million. It's just sitting there on the balance sheet. And so what have you done? You've created an artificial crisis. You're suggesting that we can't do things, we have to make these cuts. You actually have $283 million that could go to the roads today. So when you go back to your districts, tell them that there was money that could have gone to the roads, but you didn't want to do that because you're going to do a gimmick, potentially, down the next 3 weeks. Whether it's a tax cut that only helps the wealthy, whether it's attacking pensions, you're going to do something down the road. Instead of actually putting those dollars where people want them, in environmental protection, in the health and human services, into our local communities and into our roads. That is the problem that we have. That's the opportunity that we have. So I'm asking all of you who've said, hey, this is just one step of the process, I'm just doing this vote today, that you come forward and you demand your leadership to take a look at these key cuts that they have made. Now you can decide not to follow the Constitution. You can decide to make sure that amendments aren't allowed on here on the floor. But you have a responsibility in the majority to tell your leadership to do the right thing. They won't follow the Constitution, but they might listen to you about these cuts that have happened throughout.
Representative, please keep your comments tailored to the budget that is currently before us. The chair recognizes Minority Leader Singh.
Thank you very much. So you have great responsibility in the majority. You have great responsibility as this budget moves forward to make sure that we are funding our roads, to make sure that we are funding the health and human services and the environmental needs of the state. You have created a false narrative in this budget. You've left money in D.C., you've left $283 million that should have been allocated to key responsible programs, and now is your time over the next 3 weeks to tell your leadership to do the right thing. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative.